Other questions? I think, Emma, am I supposed to be talking about, the other Emma, about my experience at Bydgoszcz now, or?
Yeah, if there's no more questions about your presentation, I know as you were saying earlier, you were here right back at the start, so I'm sure it'd be very interesting to hear about your experiences of that.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, as I said, straight off, change of career. I mean, I was in my, well, how old? I think I was early 30s. Yeah, 32, I think I was when I became a teacher. So I was trying a new career, and I was thrown into this new school. And I think that was it. I mean, I knew within, I think the first week, my first week of classes, that I'd made the right choice. Polish people, which is lovely. And as you see at the end of my PowerPoint, I had some wonderful classes. I'll always remember my morning ladies, as we call them here, but I think they were afternoon ladies in Poland. And I had a lot of beginners, which, you know, you couldn't have asked for a better way to start coming off your CELTA, really, because, you know, I went through beginners, elementary, as, you know, intermediate. And by the time I came here to Buenos Aires, I was on to CAE and proficiency. So I learnt my grammar gradually, and not, you know, not like being thrown into a CAE class in my first year. Bydgoszcz itself, well, I'm sure it's very different now. I mean, there were no restaurants open when we finished teaching at night, and we used to dash down to the restaurant where the cab drivers used to go for dinner late at night. But yeah, no, just wonderful. Wonderful enough that I came back for a second year. And that's thanks to not only to Grzegorz and the directors, but also the director of studies, Catherine Lamb, at the time, who really did. I mean, I was giving presentations to Polish teachers at the end of my first year. I just come out of CELTA, but they were the opportunities that were there at the time. And I'm also thankful to International House for, I wanted to go to Spain after my CELTA, like everybody, and or to Italy. And I was persuaded that I should go and help start up this school in Poland. And it was just the great decision. And then Grzegorz, you'll remember, I was almost tempted to stay for a third year, and we were looking at Koszalin, do you remember? And Grzegorz had asked me if I would like to help set up the school in Koszalin. And unfortunately, at the same time, I was offered the position here in Buenos Aires, and I just decided it was time to move on. I'd come into teaching to move around the world. So I still
cannot understand why you've chosen Buenos Aires.
I still can't understand why I'm still here and not doing my moving. But, you know, then I got to Buenos Aires for a 2-year contract, and here 27 years I'm still here. So, yeah. So questions, anybody?
When are you coming to visit us properly?
Somebody's talking. Is that somebody in the background? No. Okay. When am I coming? I don't know, Grzegorz. You know, I mean, apart from anything else, I don't know if you remember IH Korbal. He's head of pediatrics. Okay. He's probably the only student I'm still in contact with, because he's been here. He's been to Buenos Aires twice.
Oh, that's nice.
And we've met up both times. And the last time he was here with his wife. And he keeps saying, Kate, when are you coming to visit? When are you coming to visit? The problem is, from Buenos Aires to the UK is very expensive. Time is limited, so family always take precedent. But yeah, I do plan. I'd love to show my kids. I really would. They've seen the photos. They know I was there for 2 years. They would, you know, would love to see any part of Europe, but it would be lovely to take them to where I started teaching. Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen one day. And when are you coming back to Buenos Aires, more to the point?
Next year.
Yeah. Ah, yes. Well, you're always welcome here. Questions from anybody else?
I've got one.
Yes, please.
Because you said, yeah, because you were here in 90, what was it, 90?
92, 92, 90, from 92 to 94, yeah.
I'm just interested in, like, how back then, how did you go about, you just done your CELTA, but how did you go about, like, finding schools, finding jobs? What was that process like?
Well, I mean, as I said, I probably took the easy option. So I did my IH I did my CELTA with IH in London, went straight into the recruitment office at that time, and they had the jobs that were being advertised for different IH schools, and I applied for one in Italy in Palermo, and I was interviewed by the recruitment officer in IH, and I think she asked me a third conditional question, which I'd never done on the CELTA course, and I think I told her it was a second conditional or something, or she said, give me a conditional sentence, and I'm thinking, what the bloody hell's that? And I gave her a second conditional, and then I worked out the conditional must mean if, but I mean, it was all done, and of course at the end of it she said, Kate, I think the job in Italy, they wanted you to teach the local police, and I think the police in Italy have better grammar knowledge than you do. So she said, I think you should go to Poland, which she was probably right, but yeah. And then after that, Ash, at that time, it was the same as now. There was the big international organization, and we had actually had a printed book of all the different schools in the International House organization. I looked through that. People that visited the school for inspections and whatever, I talked to them, they were in the IH, and it appeared that there were two schools that had a very good reputation at that time. One was International House Buenos Aires, and the other one was IH Palma in Mallorca, and I applied for both of those schools, and Buenos Aires offered me first, plus they were offering the chance to do what was the diploma in those days, which is now CELTA, and it was going to be subsidized while I worked. So there was that added attraction. And I have to say, you know, and I'm sure Grzegorz will sympathize, back in, you know, this was 92, 94 Poland, 5 years out from communist sort of thing. It, you know, one restaurant open after I taught, whatever, I needed something a little bit more cosmopolitan by that time. And so I came to Buenos Aires, and well, have stayed working for International House ever since then. And as you said, I was lucky. Opportunities arose. So I was ADOS, NDOS, In-company Coordinator, set up the CELTA department, did our first CELTA courses, CELTA tutor, CELTA assessor. So every year the school has managed to offer me something that keeps me interested. Normally now I think a lot of people have to move schools to get those positions. So I was very lucky that I not only fell in love and had kids, but I was able to develop my career as well at the same time. So what about you, Ash? Are you looking, how do you go about looking for jobs and things?
Well, no, I'm sticking around still for a bit. They've decided to let me become a senior next year.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Cool.
So you're still getting all the, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I was just curious because the CELTAs existed for a long time, but in relation to like people moving around and teaching English and stuff, like TEFL.com and all those other websites, still like pretty new, I would say, in comparison to like how long people have been doing this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've stayed within the IH family, but I've only been to, you know, I mean, when you think I've only actually taught in 2 schools, you know, that's not what I thought I was going to be doing when I became a teacher. I thought I'd be moving around a lot more, but I've been fortunate to, as I said, to have those things. But I think International House has that reputation that where you go, there was, you know, you have that backup of a certain amount of, you know, protection in terms of what sort of classes you're given and how many hours you have to work and things like that. And I think that's sometimes that some of the other schools aren't able to do. So yeah, but I think there are good and bad schools. I mean, I also know from people who've passed through International House. And a lot of people pass through International House Buenos Aires on their way back to Europe, and they get back to Spain and they tell me, okay, we really missed it at International House Buenos Aires. This school's so disorganized, blah, blah, blah. So I think, you know, all schools have good and bad things, but I think if you get a good one like IH Bydgoszcz, you hang on and you get all the help that you need and all the development that you need.
If I can just add one more thing, you know, thank you for your kind words, Kate. But we were lucky because in 1992, about this time, the thing called fax was invented, you know. Yes, so also it was much easier. Yes, I remember we spent ports.
Yeah, that's true.
Fax machine, yeah.
I remember.
1992, you know, it was worth, I don't know, something like almost $2,000 those days. Yeah, so
yes, yeah.
we were able to.
I was dead impressed. Wow, they've got new technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
no.
So it was with that. Before that, you know, everything was done by post. But
Yeah.
at that point, you know, believe me or not, there was already about 100 schools around the world. Yeah. So
yes, there was. Yeah.
Yeah, IH was there. There was a place at the central department which was dealing with teacher recruitment, and it was working somehow. Yes, it was working.